What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and it's been a rough offseason so far for the Tennessee Volunteers. They had 3 senior wide receivers this past season. They have now all made their decisions. We're going to go through those decisions and talk about some of the other movements here for Tennessee. Players transferring, players declaring for the NFL draft, all of that. So the big news yesterday was Josh Palmer. Josh Palmer was the last guy to make his decision on the NFL, and he is going to be heading to the NFL draft. He was the leading receiver for Tennessee this year, 33 catches, 475 yards, 4 touchdowns. He will be missed. The good news for Tennessee is Velus Jones Jr. will be back. Transfer from USC, stepped in this year and did a pretty nice job for the Vols. I guess he was maybe their second option at wide receiver, and so he is going to be also big in the kick return game. He had 18 kick returns this year and had a decent average, 22.1. But as a wide receiver, Jones had 22 catches, 280 yards, 3 touchdowns. Actually, the second leading receiver for this team was Eric Gray, the running back. So Velus Jones Jr. will be back. That's the good news for Tennessee. Brandon Johnson, wide receiver, also is going to be gone. He had 19 catches this past year, 231 yards, no touchdowns. He is transferring to UCF. So you lose 2 of your top really wide receivers, 2 of the top 4, I guess. Jalen Hyatt will be back, youngster. He had a pretty good year, 276 yards, 2 touchdowns on 20 catches. But other than that, they really didn't get much production from any of the other young guys. Ramel Keaton had 9 catches. But again, just not a whole lot at the wide receiver position for Tennessee this past year. And this is coming off the 2019 season where they lost Jawan Jennings and Marquez Callaway, 2 very good wide receivers. So 2 years in a row, Tennessee going to be hit pretty hard with losses at that wide receiver position. Still, they have, again, some young guys on the roster. We'll see how they can step up next year. The big question, I think, is going to be who's going to throw the football to these wide receivers for Tennessee. You would think Harrison Bailey probably is that lead guy for Tennessee. He played this past season, towards the end of the year, played a lot. A freshman, probably had the highest potential out of any of the quarterbacks on the roster, but Jarrett Guarantano, he is now gone. He transferred to Washington State. JT Shrout, he's gone. He transferred to Colorado. Kasem Hill, he is gone. You do also have Brian Maurer there. And then the interesting one is Hendon Hooker, who transferred to Tennessee from Virginia Tech. A little bit of a different style quarterback, a guy that can run, a guy with experience. Maybe he is the guy for Tennessee next year and give Harrison Bailey another year to maybe learn a little bit. It's going to be an interesting offense. Ty Chandler, running back, also is gone. He transferred to North Carolina. Eric Gray will be back. He was their leading rusher, and you can expect him to really carry the load there. Tight end position, they lost Jackson Lowe, Austin Pope. Those guys transferred. Jordan Allen also transferring at that tight end position. So they really have lost a lot on offense, an offense that wasn't great this past year. Even on the offensive line, Wanya Morris, he is transferring out. So a lot of question marks for Tennessee. They also had a bunch of transfers on defense. This is going to be a big year for Jeremy Pruitt. He's going to have to prove that he's the man for the job, because you look at everything they've lost. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe the young guys step up and it's kind of a different team and they actually improve, or maybe it's a disaster and this team has an even worse year next year. And again, they're coming off of a year where they went 3-7, a team with a lot of expectations in the preseason. A lot of people had them in the top 25. Some even thought that they could challenge Georgia or Florida in the SEC East. I didn't, but I know there were some out there that did. And now you look at all these losses. I mean, it's tough to lose receivers like that back-to-back years. And again, all of the uncertainty at quarterback, it seems like it's just a revolving door there. Tennessee's a mess right now, and we'll see how the rest of the offseason goes for them. There's still plenty of time to maybe add their own transfers in here, or maybe pick up another recruit, or someone in this freshman class can maybe step up for them. Again, they had some very talented wide receivers in last year's class that I think we're kind of waiting to see what they could do. But again, a lot of question marks for Tennessee, especially on the offensive side of the ball, from the quarterback to the running back position, at least with depth. And then, of course, this wide receiver position and the tight ends as well. So we'll see how Tennessee answers these questions the rest of the offseason. See, if maybe they can add some transfers. I know the transfers are all over the place this year with the free year of eligibility and not having to sit out 1 year. It's crazy how many players are transferring. And again, we'll find out if Tennessee can maybe fill some of these holes. But that's the big news for Tennessee. Their top 3 receivers, or 3 of their top 4 receivers, I guess you'd put Jalen Hyatt in there, but they're 3 senior receivers, let's put it that way. 2 of those guys gone, 1 transferring, 1 heading to the NFL. Velus Jones Jr. will be back. He is the 1 senior that they will have back in this wide receiver group. Your thoughts on all the moves here at Tennessee down in the comments below. Thank you for watching this video, and stay tuned for more here on our SEC football channel.